Hello EDH enthusiasts, welcome back to another video, and today we have all of the battle cards, so I'll be ranking every single one. This tier list is based on my opinions as well as how well I think they'll do in Commander and in Standard. Battles are generally very good, so there's only one that I think deserves the F tier, and that is Invasion of Dominaria. Invasion of Dominaria is just a founding of the third path with less potential. It also requires you to give up 5 damage that you could deal to a player for a 4/4. There are only 3 cards in the D tier as well, very few because battles are just good. First up in the D tier we have Invasion of Xerex. This is a 4 mana unsummon effect, and it doesn't really go with the white-blue archetypes in Standard right now. Next up in the D tier is Invasion of Moag. This is overcosted, and 5 damage for the 3/3 you get on the back is not worth it. Last up in the D tier is Invasion of Tarkir. Now don't get mad at me, it's a great card in Commander, but if you pull this as one of your mythics in your pre-release kit, there are only 2 other dragons in the set, so it's very bad in Limited. Moving on to the C tier, this is where we get cards that are both playable in Standard and Commander, but are just not the best. First up in C tier is Invasion of Theros. There are enough Aura and God cards in Standard that this is playable and helps you to search up some very powerful things, but isn't very good when you flip it. Next up is Invasion of Kaldheim. This is the newest wheel effect, but the nice thing is you can still play the cards you can get rid of. The third card in C tier is Invasion of Muraganda. A bit overcosted for a fight spell, but fight spells are important in Limited, and when you flip it you get a pretty big creature. Also in C tier is Invasion of Innistrad. The only reason that this 4 mana removal spell didn't make it to B tier is that it's a mythic rare. Next up is Invasion of Lorwyn. It's 6 mana removal, but it fits better with the Standard meta. The last battle card for our C tier is Invasion of Tolvada. This is a battle you most likely won't be flipping anytime during a game, so it's 5 mana recursion, which is decent. Next up is B tier. This is where cards are really getting to be pretty good. First up in B tier is Invasion of Olgrotha. This is a 5 mana 3 drain spell, but it can hit battles, which is really good, and black doesn't have a lot of any target effects. After Olgrotha comes Invasion of Pyrulia. This allows you to scry 3, which is quite a bit of scrying, and then you can find a double-faced card. And there are so many double-faced cards with the transforming sagas and werewolves that you'll be sure to hit something. Next up is Invasion of Gobakhan. This allows you to make sure that your opponents can't play their big finisher cards until 2 turns later. Following Gobakhan is Karsus. This is a board wipe-like effect that deals 3 damage to everything. Sadly, it doesn't do battles or it would be ranked much higher. Next up is Invasion of Segovia. With the blue-red Convoke archetype in this set, the 2 1/1 blue Krakens will be very good for your casting. Invasion of Asgol made it to this tier for similar reasons to Invasion of Segovia. It fits really well with the black-red sacrifice archetype. Invasion of Kaladesh is a more restricted version of Invasion of Segovia. That's why it's up here with it. Next up is Invasion of Ikoria. This is a creature-based tutor that also turns into an 8/8 when you're done with it. Moving on to the A tier, these are cards that are very good that I'm already thinking about what the crazy things I can do with them are. First up in A tier is Invasion of New Capenna. When this card flips, you get to yell Holy Flash Cannon and then attach it to something and win the game with your tribal deck. Next up is Invasion of Eldraine. This card is good because black always needs more discard effects. Also in A tier is Invasion of Amonkhet. This gets a total of 4 cards into your opponent's graveyard, so if you want that, then it's great. Following Amonkhet is Invasion of Ravnica. This card is really good, especially since in the Multiverses Legend set, you can get a Niv Mizzet Reborn, and they work really well together. For 5 mana, you can cast Invasion of Shandalar to get 3 permanents from your graveyard to your hand, so that's why it deserves a spot in A tier. Invasion of Urgamon provides ramp and card advantage in red-green. Next up is Invasion of Regatha. Dealing 4 damage to a battle can defeat most battles. The last card in A tier is Invasion of Fiora. With all the Joda decks running around, you can destroy all legendary creatures and ruin their game plan. On to the last tier, S tier. These cards are borderline broken, and some of them are totally and completely broken. Our first S tier card is Invasion of Kylem. This card is broken with the red-white archetype and red-white aggro that we have in standard. Next up is Invasion of Alara. This card is one of those ones that's totally broken, with the sort of double cascade it's got. Also in S tier is Invasion of Belenon. I think this card will perfectly replace Wedding Invitation now that it's rotating out of standard. Next up is Invasion of Mercadia. At 2 mana for a draw 2 cards effect, this is a better Thrill of Possibilities because it will get you a creature once you're done with it. Next up we have Invasion of Zendikar. We've seen this effect before, but this one turns into a 4/4 once you don't need it anymore. Next up is Invasion of Arcavios. A 5 mana instant sorcery tutor, and then being able to copy it once it's flipped is very powerful. The next S tier card we have is Invasion of New Phyrexia. You can cast this early for 2 or 3, or late for 5 or 6, and get 1,000,000 2/2 white and blue knight creature tokens. And the last card on this list is Invasion of Vryn. This draws you a lot of cards when it enters, then allows you to copy something once it's flipped. And that is all of the battle cards ranked. Thank you for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss another one.